Those external conversations can be very open-ended. You just want to engage with people on the outside of your company about work. That's it. Welcome to Executive Coaching in the AI Era, the place where you get real, no fluff, proven processes for navigating the chaotic, ever-changing corporate world. I'm Stacy Mayer, executive coach, promotion strategist, and best-selling author. For the past decade, I've been helping senior leaders like you make the intangible process of getting to the leadership table tangible, even during layoffs, economic downturns, and AI disruption. Let's go. Hello, corporate badasses. Welcome to my second episode of Executive Coaching in the AI Era. I am your host, Stacy Mayer, and super excited, as always, to be here with you again this week. Since launching this podcast just last week, I have had so many ideas, so many things that I want to talk to you about, in particular for women who are navigating executive leadership positions during this crazy, chaotic time that we're living in. And I can't think of anything better for me to do than to help you navigate through the chaos. This is what I've always loved about my job. If you were to get me and ask me, what is your favorite thing about your job? I would say, and I know this is going to sound a little weird, but it is to help women right after a layoff. Like, quite literally, I hate it, and it hurts my heart so bad when someone tells me that they were just let go, or that they were passed over for a promotion that they had been promised, or that their boss left and now they don't know where to turn. Should they stay or should they go? And I can hear it in their voice that they feel like all hope is lost, that they feel confused, that the path that they had been on, the trajectory that they had laid out in front of them no longer works. And as a coach, that's when I jump into action, and I'm able to very quickly come up with factual evidence to remind them of their power so that they can get back into the game, so that they can look at what's in front of them, what choices they do have, and take steps forward to create a bigger and better career than they would have had otherwise. And all of this happens in a single session, in 10 minutes of conversation. And we can have this deep, meaningful impact together in under 10 minutes. And that leads me to today's conversation and what I want to share with you. So if you listened to last week's episode, and definitely go back and listen to it, I talk about what would you do if you were laid off tomorrow. And essentially, I talked about how you would call up a friend and be like, hey, give me a job. And this isn't always the case, right? This is in particular in the AI era. And I talk in last week's episode, and the reason I'm repeating it today is to set things up, is that relationship and relationship capital has always been important in terms of career development. I mean, you'll hear and you'll experience time and time again, it's just about who you knew. Promotions are about who you know, being in the right time, right place, going to the right school, meeting the right people, having this set of circumstances that built automatically, quote unquote, relationship capital. But the thing is those relationships aren't a given. They don't just happen. Somebody on the other side of that relationship did something. They made a series of choices to be in that right time, right place. One of my favorite quotes of myself is right time, right place isn't something that happens. It's something that you create. And so in today's episode, I'm going to show you how to go out and create that relationship capital so that you can find your next opportunity, so that that next opportunity, that right time, right place is available to you. So before I get into this, I want you to ask yourself about your favorite jobs, right? How did you get them? Now, sometimes I'll ask that question to women and they'll say something like, I applied online. I applied to 100 positions and then I finally landed one of them. But most of the time, the highest percentage is I knew somebody. I got the job because an ex-coworker, an ex-boss, somebody that I had worked with before, somebody who opened up a door for me. When they talk about promotion opportunities, they'll say something like, my boss really liked me. He advocated for me and I got the promotion. Or I set myself up and I asked for it and then I followed through and I had to do some hard things, but I was able to get the promotion. Or I followed your executive promotion process. It worked like a charm and I was able to get the promotion. Any and all of these opportunities, though, come to you because of the people that you know. Now, in the AI era, this is even more important. So, back in the day when you used to need a job, even if you had gotten laid off, I mean, many people who are getting laid off today, this is not their first time being laid off. Unfortunately, they've been laid off in the past, not during the AI era, definitely, probably during times of economic downturn. But they've experienced layoffs before. And typically, what happens is the first thing that you do is you go on LinkedIn, you apply for a bunch of jobs, and you sort of navigate the relationship pool. And then eventually, you might find an opportunity because of somebody that you know. Now, the problem with what's happening today is that when you start applying for jobs in the AI era, you're hitting a wall. And if you haven't hit that wall yet, and then congratulations. But there can be this feeling of like impossibility when you start looking online, when you're applying online, when you're not getting called in, when you're sending direct messages out into the void to strangers, when you are even interviewing for jobs, making it to the final round and not quite sure why they never got back to you. Not even sure what you should change on your resume, what opportunities are even available to you. But yet, if you know somebody, or if you know somebody who knows somebody, you can make that phone call and make something happen for yourself. That becomes your door that you can open up. So in the AI era, doors are being opened because of the relationship capital that you have built up. Today's episode, I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so if it's already too late, you're already laid off and you're looking for that opportunity and trying to figure out who you can call, great, that's fine. You might just need to call them and ask them for a job. But if you're a little bit before that and you're like, Stacy, you're right. I would like to start building up relationship capital now because you never know what's going to happen, then ding, 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 this is your episode. This is the right one for you to be listening to. So I'm going to show you how to do this in the AI era in particular, and in one of two ways. So either, if you're listening to this, you fall in one of two camps. You either have a job or you don't have a job. Those are the only two camps that you fall in right now, okay? And so let's say that you don't have a job and you're looking to build up relationships. So I gave a great example last week of my husband who has a friend who is another parent from school, and they talk about work all the time, and they built up a relationship so that maybe, possibly, and I have no way of really knowing if he would actually give him a job or could give him a job, but at least he could approach the conversation with this integrity that he has built a solid foundational relationship with this person over the years. So what do they talk about? And this is what I want you to talk about if you're talking to somebody outside of your company. So these are external conversations. If you're talking about external conversations, and now we're going to apply some of this to those internal conversations, but they're just a little bit different. Those external conversations can be very open-ended, right? You just want to engage with people on the outside of your company about work. That's it. And so many people, especially women, don't like talking about work to somebody they don't work with. And so they'll kind of keep it quiet, right? And a lot of times when I go in, I'll start the conversation with like, oh my God, I saw your picture on LinkedIn. It looks like you had a great conference last week. That's the way I open the door. And then they keep talking and talking and talking about work. So something like that where you actually engage. So what do you do again? Where do you work? What is your job? you can open up the door and kind of get the conversation going to be willing to talk about work. And you'll be like, oh my gosh, are you guys having layoffs? Like, what's happening over there? What do you see the future of AI? What do you see the future of work? What do you see the future of your industry? I mean, even if these are kind of downer conversations, I think that they're incredibly necessary right now in terms of engaging in something that is in that personal professional realm. So, what I mean by personal professional is it's not just about your dogs and cats, which are you're welcome to talk about your kids, your cats, your dogs, whatever's happening on the actual soccer field. If that's what you want to talk about, that's totally fine. But if you want to build real relationship capital, you actually have to talk about work. Some people, even at my age, in their 50s, they might be talking about something that they did 20 years ago at work, right? Like that is totally viable, but you're just saying, hey, I'm a leader and I talk about leadership things, right? You can talk about school, you can talk about your kids' school, you can talk about things that you worry about your kids in the future of their work. Now, that's the segue into what I want to talk about in terms of internal conversations. So I have a process that I created, we're going on 6 years. I guess, I created this during the pandemic. So we're going on 6 years strong of 15-minute ally meetings. And over, if you want one thing to take away from my executive promotion process, it is 15-minute ally meetings. Do 15-minute ally meetings and you will get promoted. So how do we use 15-minute ally meetings? First of all, I want you to realize that in the AI era, you have to be doing 15-minute ally meetings. It's the only way that you're going to break through the noise and get in front of people. And getting exposure, building those relationships is just critical in terms of your own development, but also you being able to keep yourself at your organization. I had a woman who used 15-minute ally meetings and actually avoided layoffs as a result of it because somebody fought for her and they ended up keeping her. And this was just a small team and they only had to get rid of 2 people on the team and she was not one of them. But her boss actually said to her very candidly, the reason that we kept you was because such and such over here, he vouched for you. All right. So that's the power of 15-minute ally meetings. So let me break down what these meetings are. These are conversations that live in that personal professional realm. They're literally like 15 minutes. When I talk about external conversations, those conversations can be 15 minutes as well. They should be short and sweet. You don't want to have a 2-hour conversation about work. That's when it starts to dip down and get depressing. You want to keep it light, keep it funny, keep it haha, look at all these shitty things that are happening in the world. That's great. But you're bonding, right? You're building that relationship. And so one of the misconceptions about having exposure and having one-on-ones with your boss's boss's boss is that you need to talk about work. You need to give an update. You need to talk about something you're working on. When in fact, just the opposite is true. You want to go into these conversations not talking about your work product specifically, but talking about work. Okay. So here's what that looks like a little bit is that you're having conversations about the company as a whole, about that recent offsite, about how they view your moves into China, how they are viewing AI, but on a global scale. Like, where do you see this affecting our children? You got to go 2 to 3 steps away from the current situation. So you don't want to talk about AI at your company or how your team is using AI. You want to talk about AI as like a concept, right? You have to take it a little bit bigger. And the reason for that is because, and this is the thing, it's really hard for me to tell women to do this, but they have to experience it. Once they experience the other side, they get it. So what I mean by that is they'll come to me a lot of times and they'll say that the meetings aren't going very well. Like they just fall flat. There was a lot of silence. Oh my gosh. Sometimes they'll start getting assignments. They'll be like, oh, that'd be great. I'll introduce you to such and such and you can work on that project. And you're like, I don't want more work. Like I'm already overwhelmed. So you know that when you go too much into your work and what you can actually volunteer for or deliver for that other executive leader, that it doesn't actually feel that great. And the problem is it doesn't feel great for them either. And so you're wanting these conversations to be enjoyable, not nice, not fluffy, but enjoyable. Like you can have rich, deep, powerful, memorable conversations by asking a couple of good questions. And one of the big questions that's coming up for a lot of people in these executive rooms is like the future of our children. And that's a great way that you can talk about personal professional because you're talking about them going to college, wondering if knowledge work is gone for good. Like, what is the future of our children and what types of jobs should we be setting them up for, especially if that other executive leader has a child? And so that way you can go into personal professional, but you're talking about larger topics. I really want you to think about this and ask yourself, what are some of those bigger, meatier topics that I could talk about with an executive leader? So topics about your industry, topics about your companies, topics about your types of companies, topics about the world and the direction of the world, whatever that might be. If you can open the door to those types of conversations, then you're implanting memories into this person's head and they like you. They like being around you. It was a breath of fresh air. A lot of executive leaders got there because they're intellectuals, because they've had a lot of school. I mean, a lot of the women that I work with are PhDs. And I always say underpaid, undervalued PhDs, but they think deeply about certain topics. And those executives that are at the top also want to talk about and think about those topics. They want that breath of fresh air away from their work as long as it's only 10 or 15 minutes long. So your homework assignment for this week is to identify whether that person is external or internal, 2 or 3 leaders that you would like to reach out to and schedule a 15-minute ally meeting. Now, this could be hypothetically that person that you would call up if you ever needed a job and you just want to get the ball rolling and just be like, hey, we've never talked about work before. I mean, I don't even know what you do for a living, and open up the door and start having a conversation with them today, because now is the time to start to build that relationship capital so that then you can use it in your favor in the future, right? We're not being manipulative. We're not creating expectations. We're just putting ourselves in the right time, right place so that when the doors and the opportunities do open up, we can walk through that door. Okay? So identify those people, reach out to them, get those calls scheduled, and then follow up with this personal professional relationship and let me know how it goes. Send me a direct message. I want you to send me a message and say, Stacy, I reached out to my boss's boss's boss. You can go ahead and send that now. We have a meeting scheduled in 2 weeks. And then if you want to work with me personally on what that conversation should be like, I invite you to schedule a free discovery call with me. We'll map out what all of your 15-minute ally meetings should sound like. And then I can walk you through my process of working with clients one-to-one to really take them to that next level of leadership. Again, I love nothing more than to help leaders thrive during times of chaos. And the AI era is the perfect storm of chaos right now. And you do not need to navigate this alone. So go to stacymayer.com/discovery, schedule your free conversation with me. And otherwise, I am so excited to bring you my next dozen podcast episodes on this topic of executive coaching in the AI era so that you have all the tools that you need in your tool belt to navigate and thrive during this change, this time in the world. All right. Thank you all so much for listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Before you go, if you have not yet subscribed to this podcast, do so now. If you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, go there at stacymayer.com/YouTube and subscribe today. And if you know a colleague, a friend, anyone who needs to hear this message, share this information with them now. Post it to your LinkedIn profile. We are navigating this AI era together, and I am thrilled to help you on this journey. If you want to work with me personally, I invite you to schedule a call with me at stacymayer.com/discovery, where we will map out a career strategy specifically tailored to you. Whether you've recently been laid off or you're just looking to navigate this chaotic landscape and you no longer want to do it alone, go to stacymayer.com/discovery and schedule your free call today.